I just returned to Prince Edward Island, and I'm here to work on a brand new story all about Kings County, the place where I'm born and raised. And I want to talk to some other islanders and learn what this part of the country means to them. Let's have a chat with PEI's Poet Laureate, Julie Pellissier-Lush, and see what it means to her. These things. So I was I guess the place to start with us is that the last event you and I worked together, I think might be the only event where we actually shared the stage together, was with our friends at the East Pointers. They had a lovely Christmas show down at the Confederation Center. It was a staged reading of A Christmas Carol, and I was one of the I think 200 readers they had, give or take, all on that stage. And I was pleased to see you were involved in the show, and you offered a very beautiful acknowledgement to begin the event. I was wondering if we could talk a little about what goes into the acknowledgement that you offer at events such as that and other parts of PEI in Canada.
Well, I think with everything everybody was going through, and when I do a land acknowledgement, I always try to ask, the people that I'm doing it for, what their expectation is, what they want. Like if they want it light and fluffy and just getting people into the mood of whatever event is going on, then you keep it very light. But the land acknowledgement for that, I think we went and we sang a song together, a welcoming song.
Yes.
Welcoming everybody to come and enjoy this event and be present in this beautiful unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq.
And the welcoming song, can you tell me a little bit about what that, because I knew there's a piece of music to it, but what is the significance behind that piece of music?
We call it the Maui song, and it was written by Indian Bay, and they're a drum group in Cape Breton, and they're amazing. But it's a song when you hear the word Maui is the word gathering, and that means that's a time for us to come together, to celebrate. Usually Maui traditionally would start in June, the summer equinox, June 21st, where you know that it's going to be that time of year when we can gather, share our music, our songs, our stories, and gather. So when we have this song, it really means this is our time to be together and to share everything that involves just being able to gather.
Wow. I knew it was special. And you also work as the Poet Laureate of Prince Edward Island. Now, I know what a Poet Laureate is, but my director, Ryan, over here, he has no idea. So could you explain it to him in real simple terms what Poet Laureate actually means?
Well, in 2018, it was November, I got an email from PEI Library Services and said, would you be interested in becoming a Poet Laureate for Prince Edward Island? And I was like, well, I do write poetry. I have binders and binders of poetry. I love poetry. But that was never my sort of claim to fame here on PEI. It was always me being able to tell stories.
Right.
And she goes, well, that's like oral storytelling. Like it's oral writing. So if you are interested, we would love to have you. And never being able to turn down a cool opportunity. I was like, I would love to do that. They said, well, you can't tell anybody till February next year. That was a hard Christmas. Yeah. Everybody's, what's new? Nothing.
That's funny.
And then finally we had our ceremony at Fanning Bank, and I invited all these people in the community that I looked up to, and they all came and celebrated with me this amazing opportunity to be the first Indigenous Poet Laureate for PEI.
Wow.
And I read a poem that I'd written about how to find the pride inside. And it's a story about a young man that I seen in Winnipeg. My young boy had gotten sick. It wasn't the nicest area, but we knew that we'd be able to get seen pretty fast. So we walked in, and then this young boy, a young man from First Nations community, walked in, and he had a ball cap on, and it was trying to cover his eyes, and he had his, arms wrapped tight around his chest and just wouldn't look at anybody, and he went in and whispered his name and went and sat down in the corner, and just, you could almost see him wishing that he could disappear.
Huh.
Like, and it impacted me so much that I wrote this poem, because I thought, how do we start reconciliation? How do we make things move forward for people? That's creating those role models that allows us to dream, to believe in the possibilities that we can achieve anything. And now here I am as the first Indigenous Poet Laureate of Prince Edward Island. And I feel that maybe in some small way that's a part of the reconciliation, where people in my community know that she's from here and she's done this.
Yeah.
It's possible. Like, maybe I can do something like that. So honestly, what it is, I think the role is being able to embrace opportunities, but also being able to share opportunities as well.
That's beautiful. So I'm working on a new one-person show, and this is what I do. I like to build one-person shows that I bring to different parts of Canada. And they're usually very silly in nature, but this is the first time I've ever done one that's about Prince Edward Island. And this is a story inspired by a true event, a big event in Kings County. It's called the 70-mile yard sale. And yeah, it's a story inspired by actually true stories that people have submitted to me about this yard sale. Have you been to the yard sale before?
Yes, I have.
Have you bought anything?
I've been trying to drive through it, trying to go to Wood Islands,
Yes.
and it's very difficult to navigate. And yes, we did end up stopping and buying a few things. But yeah, it's crazy, but so exciting, electrifying. You see everybody so excited and happy, and drive a few more feet and there's a new one.
Yes. And these stories that I'm collecting, they've inspired a work of fiction that I've created. However, while it's fiction, it is deeply personal, just because I do explore some themes, some topics, and obviously the subject matter is quite personal to me. I'm wondering if I'm sitting with the Poet Laureate of PEI. Do you have any advice to anybody who is working on creating something that is quite personal, even though it's a work of fiction?
What I have found is just be true to the feelings that you're feeling, because you can't underestimate your audience. Mm-hmm. If you're saying something that feels real for you and your experience with that feeling, if you share it, just know that your audience will go the journey with you. Because myself personally, I've never been to residential school, but through the stories that I've heard, I can feel that struggle, that trauma that goes with it,
right,
which doesn't take away from the feelings and the emotions. So making sure that you stay true to your feelings as you're doing it, because the audience will know. They'll feel it. They'll go the journey with you if you're being honest.
Thank you. Well, Julie, I think this has been a really beautiful way to spend this morning, and you've shared so much with me and with everyone here. Truly, thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, and what an amazing way to spend a beautiful morning sitting on this vista of Charlottetown, looking out at us and little seagulls dancing around the shore. Yeah. It fills the heart and makes the day better.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
70-mile yard sale, if you've never been before. To be clear, it's not actually 70 miles long. That's just a phrase they use to let people know you shouldn't try to walk it. Not in a day, at least. And I think they put miles in there just for added intimidation. Oh, that's American. But it's a yard sale spread all across different parts of Kings County, in different little communities, different little hamlets, different edges of dirt roads you wouldn't look at twice if it wasn't for this yard sale. And this yard sale brings over 40,000 people a year to that corner of Prince Edward Island. Isn't that amazing? 40,000. That's a lot. Now, I tell this to people in Toronto, and they go, well, 40,000's not that big. After all, you look at the Sky Dome, as they used to call it, that building, that could fit 53,000 people. That's more than 40,000. What do you think of that? I think you can do some simple arithmetic there. Because you look at the city of Toronto, population is 2.1 million people. 53,000 is less than 1% of the entire population of the city of Toronto. Now, 40,000 people. You look at the population of Prince Edward Island, it's 156,000 people. 40,000 is almost 1/4 of the whole population going to a yard sale. If that's not enough for you, the entire population of Kings County is 17,106. 105 since I've moved to Hamilton. So that is the population tripling overnight just because of a yard sale. And if that's not enough for you, imagine that the Sky Dome got up off its feet, walked across the Confederation Bridge, went to Kings County to check out a book at Canada's smallest library. Maybe they want Anne of Green Gables Goes to Rainbow Valley or something. It's a lot, is what I'm trying to say.